It is considered the institutional, iconic dish of the Great British Isles, with us Brits consuming over 380 million portions of it every year. It's a food that anyone who goes to the UK should try at least once. I'm talking fish and chips. There's literally nothing better than a freshly caught cod or haddock fillet, doused in lightly seasoned flour before coated in thick batter and fried in beef dripping, and its accompaniment of freshly cut chips, cooked nice and crisp with its soft interior. It's perfect with lashings of vinegar, salt, ketchup and a squeeze of lemon, and in the golden age of the railway, it was them that at one point kept the 35,000 fish and chip shops stocked up with the freshest fish possible. Being an island, the UK had always had access to fish, and it was considered a common and cheap source of protein. Due to the lack of sanitation, especially in the growing cities, the rivers that once had an abundance of fish started to decline as the city's sewerage and waste ended up in the water. In London, oysters pulled from the Thames, while cheap and plentiful, were hidden killers harbouring all sorts of bad bacteria from the waste that they filtered. The freshest, cleanest and safest source of fish was from the sea, but with no access to refrigeration aside from ice brought from overseas, landed fish perished very quickly. In order to make the fish more easier to transport, fishing towns would pickle, salt or smoke their fish. Some towns like the town of Craster would become famous for their preservation methods and their kippers. When the railways were introduced, fishermen saw a golden opportunity to reach new markets and allowed for its fresh fish to be transported further inland. The best and richest fishing grounds were in the North Sea, and ports such as Grimsby, Aberdeen and Whitby flourished. All along the east coast, the LNER came into its own and dominated the fresh freight market. By the late 40s, over 75% of fish were moved by rail, with the LNER as its king. Keeping fish fresh for market was important, and the LNER banked on two things to get the fish from Aberdeen to London: speed and insulated vans. Before the start of World War II, the LNER had designed 12-foot wooden box vans. The vans had limited insulation, and the signallers and station masters gave the fish vans the largest priority, not only because of the perishability of its cargo, but if the train stopped, even for a few minutes of delay, the stench of the water and fish oil leaking out of the vans would turn even the strongest of stomachs and make the rails smell all day. During the Second World War, fish was so important to the UK that it was one of the few foods that wasn't rationed. It kept the country going through the war, both in nutrition and in morale. In the late years of the LNER, they had produced a new type of fish wagon. They had a 15-foot wheelbase and were fitted with vacuum brakes. The box vans were lined with aluminium, allowing for easier cleaning, and the plywood exterior was painted white to reflect heat. The roof was double insulated with rubber and aluminium. The doors were draft-proofed, and boxes of dry ice would have surrounded the fish. The only holes in the vans were two drains on the floor, allowing for melted ice to drain onto the tracks. British Rail took over the mantle of the fish trains after the nationalisation of the railways. They reclassified the LNER vans and were modified with better axles and new door handles. The vans worked well all along the east coast. Smaller ports would fill their respective vans, where they would be taken to larger ports to be shunted into huge fish trains. It was a speciality of British Rail to have the morning catch on the rails and heading to their destination no later than lunchtime, ensuring that the evening fish and chips would have been quite literally swimming in the ocean less than 12 hours beforehand. The fish trains were very common up and down the country, but by the 1960s the volume of fish by rails had declined. New refrigeration and packaging developments near to the fish plants could be processed, frozen and packaged right on the dockside. The fishermen were also seeing a decline in their catches, and developments in lorries meant that trailers could be fitted with refrigeration plants, meaning that the lorries could move the fish without the worry of spoilage should there be a delay. Motorways would soon become the new freight gateways, and despite a frantic investment in fish vans, a man called Dr. Richard Beeching, head of the British Railway Board at the time, decided to give all fish freight to the roads, ending over 100 years of fish freight on the rails and the end of the infamous Flying Kippers. Faced with hundreds of useless stinking fish vans, the British Rail repurposed many of its fish vans into baggage cars for mobile storage for railway tools. The National Railway Museum, as well as many heritage railways, have fish vans. The museum has a British Railways Blue Spot van and has the brand XP on its side, denoting it was designed to run on fast expresses and fast goods runs. The van, unusually, as well as a vacuum pipe, has a steam pipe running underneath it. The pipe was there to heat coaches on the fast passenger expresses, meaning that it was common for passengers to commute alongside the first catch of the day. Van number E87905 can be seen in the north shed, and its bright white exterior does seem to make this inconspicuous van stand out from the crowd. It's definitely one to watch out for, and if you go by, you might still get a whiff of fish. Rather stinky reminder of what once was. I also just realised last week, this is my 100th video. I'm very humbled with the level of support and general good vibes my video gets. I still have the same passion that I had for my first video I still have today. In honesty, there's been some videos that I've done that I was unsure you would like, but each video I have done has been embraced and loved. When I set up the channel, I had a plan of what I wanted to achieve out of it, and the core of the channel is you guys. You'll notice that, save for a little logo that goes across the page, I never ask for subscribers, and yet every one of you have found me, and the positivity is amazing. Each one of you is so special. I love you all, and as I'm sipping a glass of wine in celebration, let's all raise our glasses, juice, guards whistles, or Hornby trains in a giant toast to the next 100 videos and the future of this wonderful community.